Okay, before you get started with this class, you want to make sure that everything is set up just so that your class runs super smooth. Here I have the push-through bar with the safety strap on. I have the black band above the knees. The green spring is at the third hook from the bottom, so it's at the same level as the risers. And then you also have the yellow springs. They're in the middle of the tower. So this class, I just started off with calf raises here. The band is above their knees and their feet are at least hip distance apart. Also, I know it's hard to see, but I have them put the block in between the shoulder blocks. The knee pad is also at the edge of the reformer, just so that it's really easy to grab. Once I do about 15 to 20 seconds, I have them hold that calf raise and I have them pulse up for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then here is a static hold for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then next we go right into some squats here. Your feet are at least hip distance apart. And then I like to go down for 3 and up for 3. Here we're adding in a calf raise. So I do this for about 20 to 30 seconds. So here I had them grab the block. It is a short block, so they're able to put both of their heels on the block, and it's almost like they're in a high heel. I like to have their pelvis tilted slightly forward, and then here we're doing squats up and down. Same kind of concept, just making sure that they're going down for 3, 2, 1, up for 3, 2, 1. Added challenge would be to come up halfway and all the way down. I usually do that for about 30 seconds to a minute. Here is really that halfway up, all the way down movement here for about 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then here, holding it down, pulsing those knees out, for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then here, this is right back into lifting up halfway, lowering down all the way, so you have about 15 to 20 seconds of this. So this one, you're holding it down and just pressing that left knee out for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then both knees pulsing out for about 8 seconds. And then right back into lifting halfway, lowering all the way down for about 10 to 15 seconds. And then holding this one down and holding and just pressing that right knee out for about 10 seconds. And then both bilateral presses for about 8 to 10 seconds. And then just shake it out a little bit. So this next one, you have the left foot on the block, and then you're stepping out with that right foot into a squat, and then back for a small lunge. And you do that for about 20 seconds. So just make sure that that block is a long block, and you're able to put that whole left foot on it. And you can see here that the class is doing about 3 seconds down, 3 seconds up, and then 3 seconds back, 3 seconds up for each move. And we do that for about 20 seconds here. So here you have that left foot is elevated, and then you have that slow movement here. And then hold it back for that lunge and just pressing those knees out for about 8 seconds for that pulse here. And their hands are on that push-through bar. It has a safety strap for any support. And then here, just kind of moving that block, taking that left foot off the block and going right into some calf raises for about 10 to 15 seconds. Now for this next move, they are moving the block back to close to the tower, and then they're taking a step back like they're in a plank position. Their hands are on the push-through bar, and we're going right into some push-ups here. It looks like for this push-up series, I always like to do a set of 10. For this one, it looks like we're going down for 1 second and up for 3, 2, 1. I do 10 of these, and then on the last one I have them do a static hold for about 5 seconds. Okay, and then we're going right into the other side. So now that block, it's kind of like a long block, so it fits perfectly on that right foot. And the right foot is on top of that block, and it's on the right side of the reformer. And then the left side is on the mat here. Your hands are on that push-through bar. And then here it's the same thing that we did on the other side. You're stepping out for that squat. You're going down for 3 seconds and stepping back for a lunge for 3 seconds. So here you have the support from the push-through bar. It has a safety strap on it, and you're just doing that slow, controlled movement. We do that for about a minute. And then on this next one, just holding it back on that lunge and just pulsing those knees out for about 8 seconds. And then just kind of finishing up, just moving that block out of the way and going right into some calf raises just to kind of shake out those legs a little bit. Now it looks like we're pressing that push-through bar back just so that it's out of the way here. So this next move, we are on all fours. We have the green handle in our left hand. Your body is to the left side of the reformer, and you have the black band above your knees. So we're just sweeping that arm back towards your hips and then back down shoulder height here, keeping that arm nice and straight. You also have the knee pad under your knees. It should be on, on the edge of the carriage, just so that it's close and your class doesn't have to go back against the wall and grab it. So you should have that already ready here. So I usually do about 8 to 10 reps. And then here, just sweeping that arm back, holding it, and then bending at the elbow for triceps here. Again, this is about 8 to 10 reps. On this next move, you're keeping that left handle in your hand and you're going into a plank. So both of your hands are underneath your shoulders, your arms are long, and then you're just stepping your feet back and lifting those knees off of the knee pad. And here we're just doing a static hold. I make sure it's not too long, only because it does tend to hurt the wrist. And then here we're just going to go ahead and add in the legs. So back to all fours here on the left side of the reformer. Your left hand is actually on the mat here, and you're lifting your right leg or straightening it behind you. And then you're lowering down. You're going to tap that right toe and then lift up. Lowering down, tap, and lift. I usually do about 10 reps here. And then here you have the option to add in that left arm. However, it is pretty wobbly, so I added in triceps here. I do a very small amount of reps, maybe 6 to 8. Here we're going into another plank. It's a short plank, 10 to 15 seconds, and then lowering down. And then just the legs here, just lifting and lowering, no arms, for about 20 seconds. Static hold for about 10 seconds. And then bending and extending at the elbow, no legs here, for about 10 seconds. And there's always an option to omit the arms. And then right into a very short plank here. And then from here, right into a child's pose, option to release that green spring here. here we go right into some push-ups here. So there's a few options. I like to go down on my knees. You have that knee pad right underneath here. And here we're going down for 3, up for 1. We do 10 reps, and you can also kind of stay in that 90-degree table position and do more arms and almost touch your forehead on the mat. I like to end with a 5-second static hold. And then from here, right into a child's pose. Here we go right back into a plank here. So just lifting up those toes. This time we have our elbows bent just to give our wrists a little bit of a break here. So this you always have option to add in a shoulder tap. So opposite hand, opposite shoulder. You also have the option to put that blue band around your bicep triceps. And even for the push-ups, you can have that blue band around your hands just for some added resistance. And then here, going right back into a child's pose as a transition. I always give the option to alternate with a cobra here. Here we're doing the last set of 10 push-ups here. We're going down for 3 seconds and up for 1. We do 10 reps. And a small static hold. Back to a child's pose. Okay, here we're going right into a plank. If your knees are up, your feet are going to step out, in. If your knees are down on the knee pad, that's fine. You just want to do opposite hand, opposite shoulder, or shoulder taps. And then back to a child's pose. Here we're doing the same thing as we did before. So you're on the right side of the carriage, you're on all fours, your hands are underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips, and here you're just sweeping that arm towards your hips. That arm is nice and long, and you just want to make sure that the client is far enough away from the tower with that tension, or if they need less tension, closer here. Your knees are on the knee pad and that black band is above your knees. And I like to do about 8 to 10 reps. And then placing that right hand on the mat with that handle in hand and stepping those feet back for a plank here. This is a short plank. And then putting those knees back below your hips here, and then lifting that left leg this time, and then lowering down, tapping that toe to the mat and lifting up for glutes here. And here you want to have that right hand kind of on that mat just so that you have some stability here. And then you have that option to add in those arms. You're sweeping those arms back, holding it, and then doing triceps, bending at the elbow, and then extending here for about 15 seconds or so. Right into a plank. So your handle is in your hand here. Your hands are underneath your shoulders and your knees are uplifted. Short plank here. And then back into another set here, so that left leg is long behind you, straight, and just lowering and lifting those toes, tapping those toes on the mat, and then adding in those arms, adding in triceps extensions if the client is able to. If not, just keep with the legs here. I do about 8 reps or so. Back for another quick plank here. And then back for a child's pose. Okay, so here we're going right into arms and straps. So you're supine here and your arms are shoulder height and you're just pressing to the mat and lifting up shoulder height. You want to make sure that they're pretty close to, their feet are close to the edge of the carriage here. You want to make sure that they have enough tension with those green springs. And you want to make sure that those green springs are right at the height of the risers, just like they would be on the reformer. And here I have them start with their knees bent and their feet flat on the mat. And I don't have any bands on this one. And then we start to add in your upper body. So as you press those palms down to the mat, lifting your head, neck, and shoulders, and then lowering your head, neck, and shoulders as you lift those arms shoulder height. And maybe about 8 to 10 reps here. Here I have them keep their springs in their hands and put their hands on the shoulder blocks and just drop their knees side to side for windshield wiper. This time to start, legs are at tabletop, arms are above the shoulders, and then pressing down, lifting head, neck, and shoulders, and then back to start, adding in legs as you see fit. I usually do this for about 20 seconds and then add on. And then after this last rep, keeping those handles in your hands, grabbing those shoulder blocks behind you, and dropping those knees side to side for windshield wiper. So this time I'm having them start with their arms above shoulder height and then their legs at 90 degrees And then their arms and their legs are moving at the same time. Their legs are lowering down to 45 degrees, lifting the upper body as you press those palms down to the mat. And then lifting those legs up to 90 and those arms shoulder height. And you can always keep legs at tabletop if needed for any type of accommodation. So you can even keep their feet on the mat. Ending off here with hundreds here for about 15 to 20 seconds. Right into those windshield wipers, hanging onto those green handles and grabbing those shoulder blocks behind you, dropping these side to side. And then this one, I have them have their legs up at 90 again, arms up at 90, and then lowering their legs to start. And then as they press their palms to the mat, lifting their legs to 90, lifting that upper body, and then lowering those legs to 45 degrees, and then lowering that upper body as you lift your hands back shoulder height. And this is a really short rep, so I usually do about 6 to 8. And then ending off with hundreds here, your legs are at 90, and then just pumping those arms for about 10 to 15 seconds. And then releasing those handles, you can grab the tower or those shoulder blocks behind you and just dropping those knees side to side. Here I have them go into a figure 4, so their left foot is going over that right knee, and then dropping both legs towards the bathroom. And then I have them come back to center, switch the figure 4, and then drop both knees or legs towards the window. And then here we're going right into single legs and straps. So I make sure before they put on that left yellow on the right foot, I make sure that they're arm distance away from the tower. And then I make sure that they put their hands back on the tower, and that right foot stays at 90 degrees and that left foot stays long. And you have your hands on the tower so that you get more range of motion. And then here, I like to open up your right leg towards the bathroom and then to center. And then when you go towards the window, you want to drop that toe, lift that hip, and then go back towards the center and then bathroom. And here I do this for about 3 sets. And then on the 4th one, I start the single leg circles. And then here they're going to sweep towards the window, hold, and then circle down, around, towards the bathroom, back up to center. And then drop towards the window, circle down, around, back up towards the center here. And I go the other way, so drop towards the bathroom, circle down, around, drop that toe, lift that hip towards the window, back up to center, and I usually do about 3 each side. And then once you finish that, I like to have them point their toes lower down to the mat, flex, lift, and then flex, lower, point, lift, 2 of each. From there, going right into a pigeon pose, just dropping that right knee and dropping that foot all the way to the mat, releasing the tower and grabbing onto that spring. And I like to have them hold it here for 10-15 seconds. And then quickly remove, and then this time that right yellow is going on that left foot. You want to make sure again your arm distance away from the tower. Your hands are on the tower. They're on the part of the tower that has no springs. It's about 6 inches up. This time, that left leg is up at 90. That right leg is nice and long here. And then here, you just want to tick-tock towards each side. So here, I'm going towards the bathroom, dropping those toes, lifting that hip, back up to center, and then towards the window here. I like to do about 3 each side. And then on this next one towards the bathroom, just lowering down and then circling around down towards the window, back up to center. So I do 3 in this direction. And then once I finish the third one, I would go the other way. So here I would hold it and then open up towards the window, circle down, around towards the bathroom, back up to center. And when you go towards the bathroom, you want to make sure that they drop their toes and lift that hip off. You have 3 in this direction. And then here, back to center, hold, and then point lower, flex, lift. I do 2 of those, and then flex, lower, point, lift, 2 of those. And then once they finish that, I have them go right into a pigeon pose, so bending that left knee this time, dropping that left foot onto the mat, and then releasing that tower and grabbing onto that spring with your hands. And then carefully taking off that spring. Once they finish, I like to have them grab their knees, hug towards their chest, and then roll up or rock back and forth until they roll up to seated. It's just a nice transition to go from supine to seated. So here we're going right into the cardio part of the class. We are partnering up 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8. We're going right into the rippers. We are doing 200 meters. We're doing 4 sets. And the partner who is off are doing lateral walks in between the open reformer here. So the 200 meters is about 1 minute. I believe we just stayed on a resistance 5 for this one. So we have 4 sets of 200 meters at a resistance 5. The partner is doing lateral walks.